Last week, I was traveling to the southern part of Colombia from Popayan down to Pasto when there was a security incident, shut down the highway. The military rolled in, locked everything down. No traffic was going beyond this affected area because the road was not passable. The bus turned around and was headed back to where we started from. Now, for a lot of people, that would be a really stressful event, especially as a tourist. I'm not from here, and I'm not used to having these kinds of things happen. But for me, it was just an inconvenience. Now, why was it just an inconvenience? 3 words: margin of safety. That's the topic of the video today. I'm going to cover 1, what is margin of safety? 2, why it's important. 3, how I applied it in this travel situation. And 4, probably most importantly, how you can apply it to areas of your life, and specifically margin of safety when it comes to time, finances, and mindset. Hola y bienvenidos amigos. Hello and welcome friends. Steve here, Street Smart Travel. Welcome to all the new subs. We're up over 420 subscribers as I film this. Also welcome to all the existing subs. I appreciate you guys being there. Please drop any comments about the video, any questions you might have. I'm happy to use those to inform the content going forward on the channel. And another housekeeping note, I went through a bunch of videos on the channel. There's about 120 as I film this, including the shorts, and I created a bunch of playlists. So the on-the-ground bus safety, on-the-ground volunteering, those are in separate playlists, listed sequentially, so it's easy to find the content and then watch each video in the series. Anything that I've done multiple videos about a similar topic or in a similar series is now much easier to find. Let me know how that works out. Always looking for ways to make it easier for people to find the videos and watch them and derive as much benefit as they can from the content. Again, welcome to the new subs. Thanks so much. Appreciate all you guys being out there. Looking forward to any comments and questions. Let's get back to the video. Margin of safety was coined by Benjamin Graham, who was Warren Buffett's first mentor and a very successful investor. Now, the reason he came up with margin of safety is because he, 2 times in his life, was in dire financial conditions. The first time was when, as a boy, his father died and left the family destitute, and the second time was the Great Depression when he went broke. So he came up with margin of safety, which was an idea that said buy quality stocks in good companies when they're on sale. If you buy at the top of the market, there's no margin of safety. If the stock is off for whatever reason, you buy it when it's off 10 or 20% or more. When it comes back up, there's your margin of safety. You have wiggle room if things go sideways. This idea translates very well to other areas of life. In this video, we'll take a look at how to apply margin of safety across 3 domains of life: time, finances, and mindset. Also, at the end of this video, I'll provide a self-assessment. Now, most stress in your life is going to come from situations where there's no spare time, there's no cushion of time. If you have margins of error, margins of safety built into your schedule, into your life, things become a lot less stressful because there's time to deal with unexpected situations. In my travel example, that comes down to being on the bus, expecting to get to my destination around this time. The road's closed, nobody's going anywhere. I wasn't racing against the clock. There was no schedule, there was nothing I was trying to get to. I still had 2 weeks left on my tourist visa, so I didn't need to get out of the country that day. I wasn't racing to try and get a flight or to get to some scheduled event or race the clock. I've got time to process the situation, to come up with plan B, plan C, plan D. So how do you build in a margin of safety when it comes to time? A few simple and universal examples. Maybe you always feel rushed in the morning. What if you set your alarm 15 minutes earlier or a half hour earlier and give yourself more time in the morning so you can do what you need to do, and maybe you start with 5 or 10 minutes doing a meditation or reading something or setting up your day doing something you enjoy doing that's going to put you in a state of mind that's going to set the pace and the tone for the rest of your day. Maybe your commute, you build in a bit of a cushion, maybe 15 minutes, maybe more. So start small, baby steps. Get up a little earlier. Build a cushion of time into your commute. Build pockets of time between events in your day. When there's no time margin, everything feels stressful. Everything's a deadline. And as soon as one thing is late, or you're late for whatever it is that you agreed to do at whatever time, the domino effect takes over, and now that affects the rest of your day and your mood. Much better to build in a cushion of time, a margin of safety, than to be constantly racing deadlines and clocks. Margin of safety when it comes to finances. Now, why is that important in your life? Because when you have money set aside and the inevitable financial issue, catastrophe, shows up, you have some breathing room. Money is there not just to buy stuff, it's there to tide you over when unexpected expenses appear. So it gives you choices and options. As it applied to my situation, when I was on the road, I had enough Colombian pesos on me to cover me for my immediate expenses, to get a hotel for the night. Also let me buy food. I needed lunch and dinner and breakfast the next day, and possibly more because I didn't know how long the road was going to be closed. So in that case, money gave me optionality. It gave me the ability to get through a short-term issue, which I didn't know how long it was going to take, cover my expenses, and take the pressure off. How does that translate to daily life? Let's take a car repair. Something happens to your car, and it's going to cost you $800 to get it fixed. If you don't have a margin of safety, if you don't have an emergency fund built in or a way to access capital to tide you over, now you're looking at how am I going to be able to function? Can I get to work? There's a lot of stress that can come from that situation. If you do have a margin of safety built in, if you have access to funds and or an emergency fund or whatever it is, okay, this is an unexpected expense, but owning a car, these things happen from time to time, you've got it covered, it takes the pressure off. Maybe you're without a car for a day and you can figure out how to navigate around that in the short term versus scrambling to try to get the cash together and saying, okay, like now I'm going to be short on rent or I don't have enough money for this other thing. And when you have less financial stress in your life, it's a much more peaceful and relaxed way to live. Some examples of financial margins of safety would be an emergency fund. Now you might be thinking, wow, that's great. I would love to have an emergency fund, Steve, but where am I going to get this money? You can build an emergency fund slowly on whatever amount that you can set aside on a weekly basis. Okay, I don't have any excess in my budget. Okay, track your budget and eliminate things that are not necessary. Talked about this in other videos about wants versus needs. And basically the idea is if you start with 20 bucks or 10 bucks or whatever the amount is every week, put that aside into an account where again, it's easy to put the money in and not so easy to get it out. And the goal is to build up to 1 month of living expenses in the emergency fund and keep building that until you get to at least 3 months and ideally 6 months in case things go horribly sideways. And the way the economy is right now in March 2026, there's a lot of layoffs and inflation is creeping in, fuel prices are going up, food prices continue to go up. Make sure those funds are in place so that if and when you need them, they're there. That's the sleep at night fund. Start with whatever you can, adjust your budget, find ways where you can put more money into it. And the lesson from financial margin of safety is when you have an emergency fund, a sleep at night fund, your life is way less stressful. You know that if and when things go wrong, I've got it covered. If you don't have that fund in place, when financial emergencies occur, and it's a matter of when, not if, when they occur, now you're scrambling. Now that's an extra stressor in your life, and where there's more stress, emotion goes up, intelligence goes down, you make worse decisions and you have worse outcomes. If your system is fragile, as soon as there's a bump in the road, that's going to disrupt everything, and again, the downward spiral. If you do have a system that is strong and ideally resilient and better yet, anti-fragile, it gets stronger when it is under stress. Now you've got more options and you can remain calm and rational. and assess your situation and move forward from there. So in my situation, the bus driver, after we were stopped, we were maybe 100 meters from where the incident was, and he told me, look, you could walk up to the front and take a look and see if you can maybe walk through there to the other side and catch a bus and continue on your way. So I walked to the front, and by then the military vehicles were there, and this kid, like 20, maybe 21, jumps out of the vehicle, armored vehicle, full battle fatigues. He's still putting on his helmet. He's got an automatic weapon with him. And he told me, look, you can't be here, don't take any pictures, you need to go back there. And I looked around, and yeah, I was the only person who was not a member of the military that was in that part of this situation. And immediately realized, yeah, I probably shouldn't be here. I was just trying to see, on the bus driver's advice, if it was possible for me to get through, and clearly it was not. So instead of escalating and saying, look, do you know who I am? You know what country I'm from? I'm a guest in your country. Like, why are you treating me like this? Like, no, this guy's got bigger issues to deal with than some tourist that thinks he has a right to be in a place where he's really not supposed to be. I looked at the situation, assessed my options, and said, yep, I'm just going to walk away. So the psychological aspect, the margin of safety, means that you can remain rational and calm and assess the situation instead of getting emotional and reacting. So how do you build this mindset, this margin of safety, psychologically? Always have plan B and plan C and however many plans you need in place. And be flexible in your thinking. The meditation practice is the best way I've found to do it, so that when you are confronted with stressful situations, you don't immediately freak out. You take a few breaths before you respond, calm yourself down, and again, you can walk away and say, okay, I need some time to process this or think about this, and do that instead of exploding and creating a scene. So the big lesson is, when you have a mindset that is built on response versus reaction, you can process situations, take time to assess, what does this really mean? Is this going to matter to me in a week or a month or a year? So when you have a mindset that is about response versus reaction, you're in a much better position to remain calm and rational and assess your options. That ultimately will lead to a much better outcome, regardless of the situation. If you've made it this far in the video, thanks, and please drop a like, comment, subscribe, and please share this and other videos from the channel with anybody you think may be interested in the content. As to the self-assessment for margin of safety, there will be a link in the description where you can download a PDF that will have that whole questionnaire laid out, so you can use it now and in the future, and please feel free to share that. It's a free resource I came up with. I wanted to pass it along. Let me know how useful it is and how I could improve it. Now, as mentioned at the top of the video, I am including a margin of safety self-assessment. This is a quiz. There's 3 sections, one for time, one for finances, one for your psychology or mindset. Each one has 3 yes or no questions under each topic, and there is a link in the description to download this actual assessment. It's a 2-page PDF, no strings attached, it's free. Please download it, make use of it, and feel free to share it with whomever you think may benefit by it. Now, the questions. Under time margin, could I absorb missing work or key commitments if something went wrong? If something took 50% longer than planned, would my schedule hold? Is there real buffer in my week, or am I fully booked? Under financial margin, could I survive 3+ months without income? Do I have accessible emergency savings? And could I handle a $1,000 hit without going into debt? And finally, for the psychological margin, when things go wrong, do I stay composed? Do I actively think in plan Bs? Can I walk away from bad situations when needed? 9 very simple questions, yes or no, tally up your results, and the download will then give you further instructions as to what to do with that information. There's 9 things there, pick one. One item under one section, focus on that first, establish that margin of safety, and then if you want, move on to the other ones. I would love to hear your feedback on this. Like I said, please download it, share it widely, let me know how it worked for you, and let me know how I can improve upon it. One of the things being on the road and traveling teaches you very quickly is whether your systems work when they're confronted with unexpected situations. Does your system hold up, or does it crumble? Is it resilient, or is it inadequate? And can you turn it into something anti-fragile? That's how I apply these concepts, this margin of safety across time, finances, and psychological aspects in my life. It's very important to realize that stress doesn't come from situations. It comes from our responses to those situations. If we can build in options, then we have more choices, more freedom, and ultimately the ability to deal with unexpected situations by making better choices, taking better actions, and getting better results. This isn't about a road closure on a bus trip. This is about building margins of safety into your life in terms of time, finances, and psychology, or your mindset, so that when these bumps in the road do show up, you don't freak out. Building in, as baby steps, a 15-minute buffer for your commute. Try that for a week. See how it feels. If you like it, keep it. And if not, try something different. Financially, set aside whatever you can on a weekly basis, $20, $10, $5. Put it into a place, into an account where it's easy to put money in and hard to take money out. Ideally, an interest-bearing account. And build that up over time until you have a 1-month cushion, a 3-month cushion, a 6-month cushion, and then assess your options at that point. Psychologically, when things don't go your way and you feel like, okay, I'm going to freak out, going to totally lose it, take a few deep breaths, remove yourself from the situation, and say, look, I need some time to process this, and go and sit and think it through. What's the right move here? Instead of reacting, getting emotional, freaking out, saying things that you know you're going to regret and that are going to be hard to take back after the fact. These are small adjustments you can make. Anybody can do these things, and they will improve your resilience and ultimately your anti-fragility in your own life. Now, like a lot of things, margin of safety compounds. Small actions done consistently over long periods of time end up in huge results. This isn't just an idea that applies to investing, although that's where it came from. These ideas can be applied across many domains of your life. And ultimately, the goal isn't to try to eliminate problems and unexpected situations from your life. That's not possible. It's about building in systems so that when these things do happen, you're in a position where you have more options, where you can make better choices, you can extract lessons, and going forward, you're in a better place, a better position than you are right now to deal with life's unexpected issues. When you have contingency plans, when you have money and time and psychological buffers built in, you have options. That's going to make your life a lot less stressful, and those options will compound. That's margin of safety. And it's available to anybody that wants to take it on. So go to that self-assessment. I'll leave it in the description. Go through it, see what's an area that is most important for you right now, prioritize that, and take steps to building in that margin of safety. And then see how much better your life is because you have that, how much better you sleep at night, how much less stressful your life becomes by moving towards situations where you're going to have more options, more freedom, as opposed to less. Thanks for stopping by. Happy trails. See you out on the road next Saturday.